Hello all, I'm Scott and welcome back to my photography channel. Apologies for the clickbait title. You're not going to see a comparison, or at least a direct comparison, between the Nikon Z6 and the Olympus EM5 Mark III today, at least not the technical specifications. But what you are going to see is me explaining my choices for these cameras and what I plan to use them for. So I've said in a couple of past videos that I've been trying to decide where I go with my camera systems lately. Finally decided. So stick around and you might get a feeling for why one of these cameras might be suitable for you, either or you might like to carry both as well. So let's start with the Nikon Z6. This camera now is going to be full-time my macro camera for taking shots of tiny little things in the grass, butterflies, bugs, insects, you know, the kind of thing. The reasons for this is being a full-frame camera, having that better low light capability. I can push the ISO on this a lot more and it just gives me that much cleaner, sharper shots for those types of images. So in that I already have a Sigma 105 macro, which has been a fantastic pairing and a fantastic lens for this camera. So I don't really want to get rid of that. Now there are some great macro options for the Olympus camera and I might explore them in the future. I don't want to tie myself and say that I won't. But for now, I have the Z6. It's a fantastic camera and it does that perfectly. So another benefit of the Z6, it has a slightly higher megapixel count. It's only about 4 megapixels difference and this does not seem like much for the camera. But for me that means that I can just crop that little bit more. Why is this good? When you find yourself taking pictures of smaller insects, you can only get so close. And that means that more and more I find myself cropping. So onto the EM5. What am I using this for? You've already seen some videos of what I've bought for this camera and what I've been trying to use it for currently. But pretty much it is my telephoto camera, my long-range beast. Paired with the 100-400 at the moment, I'm absolutely loving this camera and what I can get. The weight of it is superb. That's just something that I can't afford easily on the Z6. To get similar equivalent focal lengths to the Z6, I would have to buy a very expensive lens. There are trade-offs, of course, like I've mentioned, low light, blah, 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 but the images are sharp. They're sharp enough for me. And that's the key thing with everything. Are images sharp enough for you? You could argue that I could buy a full-frame Sony camera, really long 600mm lens, f2.8, if such a thing exists, and it would be the best camera ever. But, yeah, who cares? Like, I'm not shooting billboards. Geese flying. But, yeah, I'm not shooting billboards. I'm doing a few small prints. Yeah, maybe find myself in a magazine one day if I'm lucky, who knows? But they're sharp enough for what I use the images for, and I think that's a key thing with any kind of camera or any kind of photography you're doing. It's what you're doing with your photography and is it sharp enough for your needs? And the Olympus really excels in that. The other side of things with Olympus is the lenses are a lot more compact, a lot more lighter. This is great for just getting out and about. Walking about like this really makes me happy now. I'm not lugging around a very, very heavy lens for full-frame cameras. Now there is an argument that yes, I am carrying around 2 cameras, which is a bit crazy in itself, but once again, it depends on what I'm shooting. So I have come out with them both today, mostly for the video to capture some shots, but generally I'll focus on one thing when I go out. So I'll either be taking the Olympus to capture those birds in flight, aircraft, those kind of things that I would need a telephoto lens for. And then when I want to, I can go out with the Nikon Z6 and capture the macro shots. But the key thing is I've got options and I've got things to decide for different situations. And I don't have to put all my eggs in one basket. One of the great things with the Nikon system is with the FTZ paired with the mirrorless cameras, I have access to so many old lenses and so many choice. The second-hand market is absolutely brilliant in that. So, once again, as a photographer who likes buying things and playing with new kit, that's a good thing for me. another great thing with the Olympus camera, Pro Capture. I've still not seen any other cameras with this feature on. One key thing I have seen is that Nikon are releasing something in the next firmware update for the Z9. Obviously I'm looking at rumor sites and what things are coming. I don't have a Z9. Will that technology filter down to the Z6, the Z6 II? Hopefully one day. And I really hope to see it because it is such a great feature of Olympus cameras. But at the moment, it's only on Olympus, so that's good. As usual, if you do like this video, please do like and subscribe. I am just a lowly hobby photographer doing this for fun, so every little bit of appreciation does count and does matter for the channel. And it makes me feel good and warm and fuzzy inside. But if you have already subscribed and you're watching this again, thank you for the continued support. I've seen the channel grow slowly over the last couple of months and it really brings a massive smile to my face. And it just makes me so happy that people are watching and people are enjoying what I produce. Of course, if you're not enjoying what I produce, leave a comment below. Let me know how I can improve, or just show your support in general. So do I prefer one camera system over the other, like Nikon versus Olympus, for the diehards and fanboys out there? Not particularly. They all have pros and they all have cons. So for example, the Z6, I love where the power button is located. Grab it with one hand, flick that switch, like a little trigger, and it's turned on. As someone who regularly turns on and off my camera. Whereas the Olympus, the power button's on the other side, so I know I can switch one of the modes over to be on and off on the right hand side, one of the buttons, but unfortunately I use it for other things. But once again, then the Olympus, great advantage, it's incredibly configurable where buttons are concerned, whereas the Z6 seems a bit limited in buttons and they've gone more for the touchscreen support. But at the end of the day, they both do the same thing. They're both cameras. I can change the ISO, I can change the shutter speed. What more do you really want? That's it for today. So I'll leave you with a few more images on the screen. Sorry about the wind if there is a little bit. I'm trying to mitigate it a little bit, but you can't help the weather, can you? But yeah, I'll put some more images on the screen for you now. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about the video. And let me know what camera you're thinking of buying, if any. Till next time, all.